Hi everybody, I wanted to show this video lab demonstration of a lab we would have been doing in class if we were at school, which I wish we were, but that's a story for another day. But this is one of your choices if you've chosen to do this to demonstrate the process of filtration. We have talked about in the notes and also the diagrams, the whole purpose of your kidneys is to filter your blood. You have stuff in your blood that you need to get rid of and some you need to keep in your body, and so your kidneys do that for your body. Your blood comes in, remember, through the glomerulus, which is that ball of capillaries, and surrounding that, not completely touching it but barely surrounding that, is a structure called the Bowman's capsule that will receive all of the material that can fit through the openings. This Bowman's capsule has tiny little openings in it, and if a compound is big enough, it can come through and enter into the Bowman's capsule, which, if you recall, will turn into a bunch of tubules and eventually your collecting duct, which is where the urine goes into your bladder. If things are too big, items are too big, like glucose is normally too big to go through, blood cells are normally too big to go through, and plasma proteins are normally too big to go through. If you have some sort of kidney damage, though, these things will appear in your urine, and so that's why a lot of doctors, if you go in for an exam or you have something wrong, or they're trying to figure out what's wrong with you, they'll do a urine test to see if these abnormal constituents are in your urine. So we're going to demonstrate this process using starch, which is a very big macromolecule. Remember, in the nutrition unit we talked about how that's a large compound, a polymer of glucose molecules that will be too big to go through the filter or the membrane that we're going to be using to model the kidney. If you don't yet have the Google Slides open yet for this particular activity, go ahead and open that. We can go back and forth and I'll talk to you about how or what to put in that chart that's part of your grade for this particular lab. So go ahead and open that up. If you don't have it open yet, hit the pause button and then come back when you're ready. Okay, so if you have it open now, we can go ahead and get started on that. What you see, let me show you this. This is kind of what you're looking at on the Google slide. There's several columns. We have two beakers we're going to use, and get this back up here, and a piece of filter paper that looks like this. One there. So this is a filter paper. So these three things are going to stand or symbolize three different organs or three different things in our system. Okay, this is beaker 1. So on your chart you'll see beaker 1. It says coffee filter paper. This is not coffee filter. It's not a coffee filter. It's actual filter, scientific filter paper. But this is your filter paper, and then this is beaker 2. Okay, so before we start anything, I'm going to add the contents of beaker 2. So in there we're going to put 50 milliliters of water. I'm going to kind of eyeball it because it's not, the exact quantity isn't super scientific. So we're going to put that in there. Okay. Then we're going to put a half a teaspoon of starch. And then we're going to put some iodine in there. The reason why we're putting iodine is because you can kind of see the starch in here, but it's much more prominent if we add iodine. Iodine will turn purple in the presence of starch. So let's go ahead and add that, and you'll see the iodine is kind of an amber color, almost like a orangey brown. So when we add it to the starch, you can kind of see it start to turn color, but I'm going to stir it up and you'll see it even better. If you happen to have some iodine at home, some people do because it's a good first aid component of your first aid kit. Iodine will kill some bacterial cells, and so some people use that for an antiseptic. So if you have iodine and cornstarch, you can certainly do this at home. So now you can see how purple, dark purple that is, okay? So beaker 1, here's beaker 1, here is the filter paper, and then beaker 2. So we can go ahead and fill in a couple of columns now. So go to your Google slide. The first column says contents of urinary organs. These are our, quote, urinary organs. Beaker 1 is empty, so write the word empty. The coffee filter paper, there's nothing on there, so put empty. And then beaker 2, we had 3 things that we added. We put water, iodine, iodine, and then cornstarch. So those are the 3 things, that's the contents of that particular, quote, organ. Okay, if you want to pause now while you finish that up, and come back when you're ready. Column 2, we're going to observe the contents before we do the filtration. So what do these observations look like? Well, beaker 1 is empty, so there's nothing to put. So put empty there. The contents of this observation is just white paper, so put white paper. And then for the beaker 2, observation is a dark purple liquid. So for column 2, in order for beaker 1, you'll put empty, so there's nothing there. The filter paper is white paper, and then beaker 2 is a dark purple liquid. Okay, so I'm going to take this filter paper and fold it so I can put it in the funnel. Excuse me. And I'm going to open this up. It's kind of small sitting in there. So I'm going to hold it while I first pour it so it doesn't pop out and make a mess. Okay, so now I'm going to pour some of my liquid. Get it mixed up, stirred here. Starch is so big you have to kind of, doesn't always dissolve all the way. Okay, so I'm going to pour some in here, just a little bit to get it wet. There, now it'll sit. Excuse me. Now it hasn't gone through yet. There we go. It's our first drop. I'm going to hold it close up to the camera so you can see it dripping out. And I want you to pay attention to the color of it. And that's why I have it sitting on this whiteboard so you can kind of see that. Let me turn it. So pay attention to this liquid that's dripping out. I poured this dark liquid in, and what's coming out now through the filter paper is clear liquid. Remember, I talked to you about how big the starch molecule is. It's a macromolecule. It's too big to go through the holes in this filter paper. This filter paper has holes in it. You can't really see it. If you were in person, you could kind of see a little bit how you can see through that because of the holes. But these holes are too small for the starch molecule to go through. If the holes were big, then you would be seeing purple liquid coming through. But look, it's still very clear. Okay. Let a little bit more go through there. If we were in class, we would be pouring out this whole thing, but I'm not going to take the time to pour the whole thing out because this would make a very long video for you. We can go ahead while that's finishing up a little bit and fill in the third column there. So beaker 1, observation of contents after filtration. This is the filtration process. So the contents of this beaker is a clear liquid. Okay, it looks like there's purple in there, but it's the shadow, the dark, where it's hitting where it's touching that whiteboard. It's clear liquid. You can see it there. There we go. You can see how clear it is. Okay, so it's a clear liquid that's coming through in beaker 1. Beaker 2, just go ahead and put dark purple liquid. And then I'm going ahead, it looks like it's almost done. I'm going to take it off or take it out. pour out the extra there. And look at the paper. The starch had to go somewhere. It's not in beaker 1, so it is still, it's on that filter paper. There's the starch. So for observation of contents after filtration on the filter paper, you can put kind of a purple sludge is kind of what it looks like. So purple sludge, S-L-U-D-G-E. So let's think about what organs these could be representing, okay? So beaker 1, remember we had the filter paper inside here, and we were collecting and storing the filtrate, the liquid that's coming after it being filtered is called filtrate. The thing that stores the filtrate in your body or stores the urine is the bladder, okay? So beaker 1 would represent the bladder. The paper is what's doing the filtering. And what are the organs in your body that do the filtering for your blood? Yes, the kidneys. So this would represent the kidneys, the filter paper. The liquid that's coming in, that's in beaker 1, the liquid is the blood. So the container for blood is your blood vessels, okay? So beaker 1 would be your bladder. The filter paper would be your kidneys. And beaker 2 would be your blood vessels because it's holding the blood, which in our simulated lab here is this dark purple liquid. Okay, if you have any questions about this whole thing, let me know. But that's pretty much the end of the demonstration. So what you will need to do is once you get the table turned in or finished, completed, click the turn in button so I get that copy of that, and then go to the Google form and answer the 8 or 9, I forget how many questions, 8, 10, something like that, questions on there and submit that related to this. If you're not quite sure, I have go back and look at the background information that's part of your Google Slides. That'll give you some information to help you with answering those questions. If you're completely stuck on something though, please reach out to me. You know how to do that, and ask me a question. I'll be glad to help you. So I hope you're doing well, and we'll talk soon. Bye.